Super pumped to be doing this. This is always one of my highlights of the year. So I am RB Adam. I am Adam Miller, a VP of Engineering and Technology at Roblox. We're going to talk a little bit about our product update. So what we have done in the last year and a little bit of what's coming up. So we're going to do this in 3 sections. First, what we promised we'd ship and we shipped. Second will be what we didn't get to ship. And third will be what we're going to ship next year. So let's go through what we promised we'd shipped and we did ship. So last year, a big item we worked on was our larger worlds. So we thought a lot about how do we make Roblox bigger for 100-player games, for lots of more players, and larger detailed systems. We implemented a bunch of technology that works with, okay, sorry, hold on a second. All right, this is the perils of streaming from home. Sorry about that. Okay, so we made bigger worlds and we implement a lot of technology that makes this stuff work way better under the hood. And that helped a lot of games start to build technology, build games on top of this. So that was a really cool item. We shipped our new lighting model. So this is something called physically based rendering. This is the foundation of what we are going to be building a lot of new rendering technology on top of. So this is a new way to render materials. And the immediate effect was getting awesome skybox reflections. And you can see this in this car on the left. But you'll see coming up that this is a foundation for a lot of the awesome stuff we're building in the future. Under the hood, we shipped our new Lua type system. We added an optional typing system to Lua. It's kind of a little bit how TypeScript extends JavaScript. This is optional. You can put these types on your variables and you get warnings at compile time instead of runtime, which is good for building bigger, more complicated games. So theme alert on that, something we're thinking about a lot. All right, quick Discord check. Post in general if you're using types in your games. All right, a lot of no's. All right, check it out. Try it. I think it's going to be good. Okay, let's keep going. Building bigger games, really important feature is source control and version history, right? So this is how you start to manage larger pieces of content. So we shipped the first version of this, versioning for scripts. You can roll back to any different version. You can diff, you can merge, you can make changes, test them. You even have batch merges where you merge multiple things together and commit them together. On the graphics side, terrain vegetation. For many years, we've had a good terrain system, but it's always been a little bit barren. So finally, we shipped the first version of this, which is our grass. There's going to be a lot more coming in this, but already it makes our worlds look a lot more lush. UGC catalog. We started to realize, okay, the community of creators can make better content than we can, so let's extend that to the catalog. First version of hats is really awesome. We've had amazing stuff, and so expect this to be a lot more opened up in the future. Okay, that was what we talked about last RDC of shipping, and we did ship. Here's a few things, quick tour of what we didn't talk about, but we shipped anyways. Atmospheric fog, a totally new fog system. So it's built from fundamental principles of atmospheres, replaces our existing fog. It's configurable with some nice, elegant sliders, looks really good. We shipped a depth of field full screen effect. It's got a near field and a far field. I've seen this in a ton of games. Can't resist putting in a bunch of cool screenshots for this. Good stuff. All right, our place version history. So for many years, we've been able to show you your old versions of your places on the website. You can go to develop, but it's kind of a pain. So now it's in Studio. You can see every version that's ever been published. You can see it's actually published or just saved, which is cool, and revert. Plugin debugging shipped. So we've always wanted to have awesome plugins in Studio. It's been a little bit hard to build them. The whole life cycle of development testing hasn't been as rich as for games. So we ship plugin debugging, actually let you attach debuggers to your plugins, make it easier to make really cool plugins. And our output window, this is in beta right now, Studio beta. I'm gonna do a quick Discord check who's using the new output window. A lot of yeses, good, I like to see it. So gone is the old plain old text box. Now we have different types. We've got filtering, good colors, click to locations, and of course, last but not least, you can print out Lua tables and you actually get a nice layout of how your data is structured. UI gradient, simple but awesome feature. Lets you put gradients on your UI widgets, a couple of color sequences, and you're off to the races. Gone or having to do this with images, which is a pain and doesn't look as good. And another similar feature is rounded corners, right? So instead of having to 9-box your buttons, now it's just a little UI corner configuration. It's totally real time and configurable. It's nice and smooth, looks really good. So little UI tweaks to make your lives easier. On the discovery side, we shipped our first version of game recommendations, trying to show better recommended games for all players. And we believe that there's an enormous amount of long tail content that's really good and maybe better for what one person might want to see and play instead of just what everyone wants to see. So that's the idea behind good personalized game discovery. This is just the first version of this. There's going to be a lot more tech that we're building on the back end to make this better and better. Okay, so in CSG, super useful. It's got one challenge, which is the physics bodies that are produced from the CSG operations aren't always super accurate. So we introduced something called precise convex decomposition. It's an option for an object, produces really precise physical collision detection for one CSG object. This is a little more expensive, so it is opt-in, but for when you really need it, it's really useful. And that is the end of what we shipped last year. So quick section on what we promised we'd ship, but we didn't. So dynamic skies, we've been talking about this for a long time. It's still super key to our vision. So having awesome procedural volumetric clouds that animate, look really good, different weather patterns, all generated from simple, elegant settings. It's really hard. It's super cool. We do have a prototype running. If you look to the left here in Studio, you can actually see dynamic skies animating in Studio. So we are making some really good progress on this. Expect this in the next year. Another item that didn't quite make it is our LOD system for models. We do have LODs for meshes and CSGs. We didn't quite finish the models version where it's built out of parts. So you see objects in the distance at a lower resolution. We will ship this in the next year. This one's close. And finally, our layered clothing system. So this is the tech that's going to allow you to take different items of clothing and put them over whatever kind of body you have, whether it's a minifig, Magma Fiend, whatever. The same items of clothing just work and they layer, they stack. So you have your undershirt, your jacket, your scarf, they all just work automatically. This is going to completely open up a world of awesome configurable custom avatars, and it's going to be coming in the next year. So that's the end of this section. And even though we didn't ship this stuff, it's all still super vision aligned for us, and it's all big things we're going to keep working on. And sometimes it's okay to have a big vision. We'll get there. So let's talk about what's coming up in the next year. This is going to be really fun. I think some of these items you know, and some you may not know. So let's take a look. Okay, rich text. This is actually live in studio beta. I was playing with it last night. Super awesome. I know a bunch of you have built your own systems for doing stuff like this. To have it built in is way better. You can just make little sections of your text box bold or colored or underlined or whatever. Really convenient for making text pop. And having it built in is nice and is also way more performant. Automatic sizing, another cool UI addition. So to be able to size your buttons, text boxes according to how long the content is, it's very useful, especially in a translation world where you don't know how long the text is going to be. So with our mobile clients, we're always trying to make mobile development easier. It's a little bit harder than building on desktop. And especially right now, if you're trying to test on a running mobile device, it's pretty hard trying to pop up the developer console on your phone. We're going to be adding functionality to connect Actual Studio to your running mobile device. And this will just make it easier if you're not running in emulation mode. It'll make it easier to detect those problems on mobile. Okay, Future is Bright 3. We have shipped 1, 2, even 2.5. It is time to ship 3. So 3 is point lights, shadow maps. It's sharp shadows and lights coming from point lights. It looks really good, especially at nighttime, indoor scenes, things like that. So let's look at a couple of cool images I grabbed from Dev Forum and Twitter. I love this cop car in the alley. It's really cool. All right. So as I mentioned before, we've built our new fundamental tech of the physically based rendering system. And what this is letting us do is make a whole new selection of built-in materials. So we're doing a full art pass on our existing materials, and we're going to be adding a few more. But with this new tech, we can make things look a lot better. So you see like the fabric in the bottom left, the corroded metal in the upper right. It's just going to be a really nice art pass. And of course, terrain. So this is the new prototype of cracked lava. And this is the new ice. Looks good. And I think some people may be aware, we recently shipped the beta of our surface appearance. This is the ability for you developers to ship your own PBR textures. And so this is still in studio beta, but obviously it's coming soon. This is a great way to make your games really pop if you want the extra visual fidelity. This image I grabbed, I think from the Dev Forum, it just says it all to me. You got the version on the left, that's the old Roblox. you got the version on the right, the latest feature is bright, and the PBR texture is just a world of difference. And terrain too. So we're gonna be adding new terrain types. We're gonna be letting you upload your own terrain material. So there's a little example of that in the upper right, some mossy cobblestone. The vegetation itself, so we're gonna be adding more options to the grass and also different types of vegetation. So bushes, shrubbery, rocks, things like that. So finally, there's the terrain transitions. So currently what we have is what you see on the left, which is just a straight alpha blend from one to the other. It looks okay, but what we're prototyping right now is the version on the right, where it uses height maps to figure out really awesome transitions. And this just, I think it makes it look a lot better. Yes, and finally, alpha cutouts. So trying to do things like trees where you have mostly transparent textures. Right now, you have to do these weird tricks where you set opacity to like 0.99 and stuff like that. So, and it's a little bit slow and the ordering isn't right. We're doing proper alpha cutout support. I'm seeing a finally in Discord. So yes, I know people have wanted this for a long time. This will be awesome. Okay, it's been a while since we've added new fonts to Roblox. It's something we'd love to do this year. We're gonna add a few more. How do we pick them? Well, we want your input on this. Not coincidentally, we have a post going up on the developer forum right after this, a little poll. Give us your input. What fonts do you want? Mobile haptics. So this is that feeling of touch when you touch your screen. We're gonna be adding APIs for that. Give a little feedback, make our mobile Roblox games a little more awesome. And then let's talk a little bit about some of our more core tech. So as I mentioned before, we're always trying to make Roblox work faster to do more. Right now, our Lua scripts hold us back a little bit because they all operate in serial. They operate one after each other. So we're gonna be adding our first version of parallel execution for Lua. This is a little example of what it might look like. So here's one frame. We've got 3 NPCs. They have to do work one after another. It takes a little bit longer to execute the frame. If we have this in parallel, all the NPCs can run their Lua at the same time, and we have a total frame time that's shorter and faster game. Data stores, super important for many Roblox games. Some people have been held back by the data size, so we're going to be increasing it from 200K up to 4 megabytes. So a lot of people are doing kinds of crazy tricks about splitting data up into different key values and reassembling and all that pain, where it should be a lot easier. And also more functionality for data stores. So you can do 4 key things. So the ability to list through your store, to iterate the data by your collection, to be able to specify metadata attributes on things and filter based on that. So if you want to say all data of a certain type, you'll be able to do that. We have first implementation of versioning. So the versioning of one key value item will go back a couple of versions and you can open the old versions of that. And then finally, batching of requests. So the ability to do atomic operations of multiple sets, super useful if you're trying to do something like trade an item. You kind of want it to be all success or 0. So data stores, super awesome, they'll get better, but they're not always the best solution for every kind of shared memory problem. We're gonna be introducing something new, a new system called Universe Shared Memory. So the idea behind this is to have a much faster speed and throughput, and what you trade off is the permanency of data stores. So it's more for ephemeral data, things like matchmaking and leaderboards, stuff where you want to share data between servers really fast. our script editor, we have a mission to make the Roblox built-in script editor absolutely world-class. And we've been really doubling down on this. We want it to be incredibly awesome, as good as any script editor in the world. So we've rebuilt the core underlying architecture of it this year, and we're starting to ship a lot of awesome changes on top of it. It'll look better, it'll be faster, handle bigger scripts, better indentation, autocomplete, all the modern things we want in a great script editor. We talked a bit before about the first version of script source control. This edition will let you put comments into check-ins, optional comments. They just help with your script history and being able to see what changed when. And this will be the kind of UI you'll get to see when you browse it. You'll see all the different versions, the comments, who did the change, and do merging, control the batching, reversions, all the awesome stuff you want, making collaborative editing really powerful. A little stretch goal here is cloud scripts. This is the idea of being able to execute a script that doesn't have a server associated with it. So if you want to run some centralized piece of logic on your game, it can run at the universe level and do things with the data store, the universe shared memory, things like that. So this will be really cool. Let's hope we get to ship a first version of this. And asset sharing and privacy is something we've needed a long time. Roblox is super open. I love it's open, but there's times when you want to control who can use what. So this is both the privacy and the protection of your assets, controlling who can see them, who can use them in their own things. Spatial Event API. I took this little screenshot from Jailbreak. So you get near a car, you want to jump in it, you need the prompt. Right now it's kind of complex and slow to do this in Lua. So we're going to be making a nice, simple spatial event API that detects proximity. Really big item, skinned meshes, otherwise known as deformable meshes. We pushed really hard to get it out before RDC. I really wanted to announce that this is live at RDC. We just missed it. So this is coming in the next couple of weeks. But it's such an amazing transformative thing for Roblox. And if you look at this guy's skirt down here, you'll see how it bends and it fits over his knees. This is just a foundational piece of technology for making really awesome looking modern avatars. In-game video, I think a lot of people saw the Bloxies this year. We also did a One World Together at Home concert live in Roblox. These are video streams that we've controlled, but of course, the real future is letting you control video, being able to put all kinds of video content in your games. So we will be making steps to this over the next year. A few years ago, we added in-game CSG. In-game CSG is the ability to do CSG operations in a game, not just offline in studio. There's been some really neat use cases of this, but it's been held back a little bit by it always being a lot of latency for your operation. So we think that by making the operations real time, it's going to open up really amazing use cases. This is a little demo of our prototype. You can see that the operations happen so fast, you can't even tell they're happening. The objects just subtract in real time, and it's really cool. So look for this over the next year. And then finally, I want to talk a little bit about what's really our big overarching vision here for our game engine and our developer tools. We want to be able to make really big, really immersive games. So this means hundreds of players, thousands of NPCs, large, vibrant worlds with parts and terrain and meshes and models, everything coming together, working really well, running automatically on all kinds of devices. This is a really big effort for us. This is a lot of fundamental technology that we're relentlessly working on improving, making everything faster and more efficient. So over the next year and really into the future, you're going to see a lot of this open up and bigger, more immersive games become possible. And that is it for RDC 2020 product update. This was super fun, as always. I'm going to be on Discord, want to get more feedback from everyone, what they thought. This is super cool. I wish we could do it in person. I'm going to look forward to that in the future because I love those connections. But thanks for taking time to watch today. I just want to say what an amazing collaboration it is for us to work with the developer community. You can see whenever we have tech, and I grab the screenshots, these are the screenshots from the dev forum, from Twitter, from games. This is what you are building on top of this. And this is the collaboration that makes Roblox such a special, special platform. So thank you very much and see you next time.